We are going to get started. Hello and welcome to the Roadmap to Replenishment, your replenishment retreat, where we're going to learn all of the secrets to filling our batteries so that we can tend to all of the things, all of the demands that life puts on us, and still have space for ourselves, space for joy, and just space. Okay, so are you ready for that? Are you ready to figure out how to live your best life right now, today? Can I get a woohoo? Woohoo! So I am so excited to see your beautiful faces. Thank you for showing up live. It's so nice to have somebody to talk to, because what we're doing today is we are changing how we live. We're changing how we live our lives. And in changing how we live, we change how we are expected to live our lives. And that creates a powerful ripple. And each of you is creating that ripple today. So for those of you who don't know me, hello, I'm Christina, and I am raising 4 boys with my partner, Tim. I have a full-time job and 2 side businesses, and I know what it feels like to be so exhausted that you can't even sleep. I have 1 child with allergies, 2 with ADHD, 2 with learning disabilities, and 1 with autism and behavior challenges. I have been through the ringer. And I know firsthand that life can be hard even when it's good. And so I am excited this week to share with you my exact formula that I have learned over the last 15 years that allowed me to ditch overwhelm, de-stress, and start filling my own cup so that I could handle so much more and be the mom and worker and wife and friend that I really wanted to be. Sound good? Okay. Let's start with a temperature check. We are going to use the chat. Type yes in the chat if you feel overwhelmed or exhausted most of the time. Type yes if it feels like everyone needs you, constantly. Type yes again. And this was me, this is a big one for me. If you see people on Facebook or Instagram who are weirdly happy and living their best lives, and you are wondering how the heck they have time or energy to live like that. Like, they have 2 kids, they should be just as pulled apart by the whole experience as you are. That was me for a very long time, completely scratching my head on that. Okay, last one. Type heck yes. See, I made it PG. If you want to wake up every day feeling refreshed and ready to shine. Imagine what you could do with just a little extra energy. Okay, so we're here for a serious-ish topic, but most of you who know me, I love to have fun. I love to be silly. Feel free to use the chat throughout the presentation. Be silly, use emojis, be sarcastic, and just let fly whatever thoughts jump into your brain, because that is how beautiful organic transformation happens. And so let's go. We are going to start by using an emoji. So in the chat, using just 1 word or an emoji, you can use words if you prefer. Oh, Martha's here. Tell me how you are feeling right now. Now, I have too many screens open, so I need to find my chat. Where are you, chat? Hi, Martha. Love the heck yeses. Hello, I'm so glad you can join us. We are using an emoji to share how you are feeling right now, because tapping into our feelings is going to be one of our main themes. Hooray. Okay. Oh, Dr. J, Jennifer, you're feeling celebration. Susan, you're feeling, I love it. I love that there's an emoji for every feeling. This is fantastic. Okay. So I'm going to acknowledge that it can be scary to embark on a week of self-discovery. I'm going to push you a little bit this week to open up some of the things that maybe you've been hiding for a long time. And I'm going to honor that you are here, that you showed up for yourself, even though you are scared. Even though maybe you have tried a lot of things to feel better and nothing worked. And even if you don't really have time right now, you still showed up here. And I honor that you are showing up for yourself right now just by being here today. And that tells me that you are tenacious. You are passionate. You are an action taker and the best role model for your kids who are looking to you to figure out how they should live their lives. High five to all of you. So today we're going to uncover the biggest reason you are feeling overwhelmed. And we're going to use that throughout the week as I show you how to systematically shift from that place of overwhelm and anxiety and stress into a place where you can breathe, where you feel hope, and where you can enjoy your time with your family and actually feel like you are achieving your goals. So that's my challenge, is to teach you that. Your challenge is to have the courage to tap into your own inner wisdom and let flow whatever comes up, no matter how stupid or ridiculous your mind thinks it is. So we have a workbook for you to write your reflections in. Everybody have the workbook? Yes, thumbs up if you do. Yes, fantastic. This is good. All right, I'll drop it in the chat just in case here. Link to the workbook. There we go. So you need to download it to your computer and then it will become fillable. So you just got to click file and then download in order to do that. And we're going to be using this workbook throughout the week. So remember, this is a week of your self-discovery. So make sure you have it handy every day. Okay, let's get started today talking about why we end up feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. And I'm going to start with childhood. Okay, stay with me. I promise this is leading somewhere. Okay, let me share my screen. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. Okay. Now I just need to move my stuff around because I'm screen sharing. Give me a second. Thank you for your patience as I figure out all of this tech for the first time ever. Okay. So you see my screen? Yes, here is a beautiful child. Fantastic. I can't see you guys anymore, so that's good. So when we're a child, we start out just being beautifully and authentically ourselves. We are curious and weird and impulsive, and we seek to get our needs met and do whatever feels good in the moment. You've probably seen that with your kids. So we have this beautiful child here on the screen. And in the perfect world, this child would grow up intensely connected to themselves and discover all the things that light them up. And their path would look something like this. Nice straight arrow from being a kid to being a grown-up. But none of us live in a perfect world. We had to adapt to survive. In fact, our brain evolved to be proficient at adapting and surviving. And as a social species, that means being able to maintain our status as part of a group. Because back in the day, like when our brain was evolving, if we were cast out of our social group, that pretty much meant certain death. So it was to our benefit as an individual to figure out super fast how to be liked and accepted and included. And different groups had different norms. So our mind evolved to take in this data and figure out how to fit in wherever we are and to be in the least danger possible. So what does this mean? Well, let's think back to our first community, which is our family. What did you need to do in order to be safe there? In order to get praise and avoid conflict? Maybe our mind noticed that we are safest if we keep quiet and don't make waves. Or maybe it was the opposite. Maybe our mind noticed that we needed to be loud in order to be heard. Maybe there are certain expectations of how to behave, how to be liked, how to fit in, how to be noticed, and how to make others happy. And so we change ourselves according to those rules that our mind takes in. We adapt ourselves, our behaviors, and how we show up in the world in order to be liked, accepted, loved, and safe. So you can see this little arrow here is starting to grow. This is us changing ourselves to be safe. We are deviating from our true self line in the bottom in order to do and to be and to feel what our mind tells us is safest. And we often think of this as like a traumatic thing, like if we grew up in an abusive household. And that is definitely true, but it's also true in every single situation, in every single family, because we all have a mind that desires to be safe. So if you were praised for, keeping your clothes clean when you go to the park, or being super helpful to your family, or getting good grades, your mind is going to create a path for you that gets you more of that praise and less of whatever you feel shame about. And so as we grow up, we are bombarded with messages about who we need to be in order to fit in. And these messages come from everywhere. Every person, every laugh, every sneer, every media message that we take in, we learn how to act and how to dress and what parts of us to hide in order to be the most acceptable version of ourselves. And as we do that, we move farther and farther away from who we really are without even realizing it. We change ourselves based on what other people think of us, like comments on how you look, how loud or quiet you are, comments on your grades or your laziness or your forgetfulness. Okay, this is sounding negative, but it's also positive comments. Positive comments are just as impactful, like comments on how helpful you are or how proud your parents are of your achievements. Like, even like the pats on the back that we get from our teammates when we score a goal, that's going to change our path. We learn what gets rewarded and what gets us put down, and we adjust ourselves accordingly. Okay, so that's pretty obvious, right? Like, those are the things that are said out loud. We can feel those things. Maybe we are even conscious that we made those adjustments as we, started a school year and figured out how we wanted to interact with our peers. But we have to remember that our minds are brilliant data processing machines. And they take in messages from millions of sources, like millions, all of the time. These messages that shape us could be very subtle. It could be like body language, like from other kids at school, or images, like what does a desirable body looks like. The messages could be obvious or not. And they can be directed at you, they can be directed at someone else, or they can be directed at nobody at all. Your mind is going to take in all of that. So here's an example. In our house, we always had music on. So how many of you have heard the song Lady in Red by Krista Berg? Yes? Type yes in the chat. I can only see the chat now if you've heard it. Okay, maybe you can even belt out a couple of lyrics right now. Like how many of you are going, Lady in Red? Okay, I'm totally tone deaf. Okay, but this was a very popular song in the 80s when I happened to be growing up. And so I'm just going to put some of the lyrics up here for you. These are cut and paste. It doesn't flow like this. But we're going to take a look at these lyrics. Okay, so all of you guys know this song, right? It's very popular. I am not a good singer, so I am not going to sing them, but we can see, I have never seen you looking so gorgeous as you did tonight. I have never seen you shine so bright. You were amazing. And I have never seen that dress you're wearing or the highlights in your hair that catch your eyes. I have been blind. And I had never had such a feeling of complete and utter love as I do tonight. Ooh, I get tingles still listening to it. And I remember my single mom listening to it, and she had this like dreamy look. Oh, that just sounds so beautiful. And I remember feeling it too. I mean, I wanted to be noticed and dance cheek to cheek and shine so bright and have that feeling of complete and utter love. But how do I get that? Wow, guess what? They put the answer right in the song. Perfect dress and perfect hair. That's how I get noticed and become desirable to boys, which happened to be an interest of mine around that time. So if I found myself being unnoticed or rejected, my brilliant mind had taken in this information subconsciously and told me that I just needed to try harder to find that perfect look that would make me worthy. Buy new clothes, try a new hairstyle, because then I will be noticeable and lovable. Okay, see what I'm saying there? So this is just one tiny song out of the millions that I have listened to over my lifetime. And music is just one tiny little speck of what my mind takes in. What about the rest of media, the TV shows and the movies? And they all have different messages that my mind takes in and analyzes and integrates. Constant messages about how we should look and dress and act and be. You should be funny and pretty and smart, but not too smart. You need to laugh at the right time, but don't be dramatic, and definitely don't be emotional. We can see how the emotional ones are treated, those subtle eye rolls and those whispers. She's crazy, she can't cut it. The popular ones in the movies are stoic and aloof and unflappable. So my mind says, be stoic, be unflappable. Okay, so we all have these messages that come from the media and all sorts of different things, but then there's our actual reality, which teaches us things like how to keep a bully at bay, how to interact with our peers for the best results, whatever that result is that we decided is good, and how to present ourselves in order to achieve what our mind tells us is most safe. So many messages from so many sources. Simple comments made in passing like, should you be eating that? Comments made about others even. Comments, okay, sorry, we got people coming in. Comments made about others like, look what they are doing. What a nerd. And now social media bombarding you with completely untrue and impossible standards for literally everything. Our brilliant mind will internalize that and figure out what not to be. Fat is bad, skinny is bad, nerd is bad, that hairstyle is bad, being lazy is bad, resting is bad, speaking up is bad, being tall is bad, being short is bad, being loud is bad, being quiet is bad. Looking the way you look is bad. Being who you are is bad. We consciously or unconsciously start hiding parts of ourselves that don't fit into whatever definition our mind came up with as we desperately try to become good enough, which is total BS because we are already good enough. But I call all of this brilliant analysis that our mind did programming. That is our programming. Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, so now we are here. We are this stressed out, grown up, and each of our lines, this squiggly line, is going to look different depending on what we encountered. Some of us might be kind of close to our true selves if we were celebrated for these things. And some of us might be like really far because growing up, it was unsafe to be those things, unsafe to be ourselves. And the farther away these 2 points are, the more imbalanced we feel, the more dissonance between our true selves, which is the bottom line, and our programmed selves, which is the top line. It's like our true self is fighting with our programmed self. There is a part of us that wants to let loose that weird and authentic part of us, like that weird and authentic being. And then there's another part of us that just wants to desperately fit in and be safe. And this dissonance leads to searching and numbing and controlling and avoiding. How many of you can relate? Have you ever felt that imbalance? Like, it's not always obvious. It can feel like a panic attack, or it can feel like anxiety, or just general unease, inability to make decisions. And it leads to searching for anything that will make us feel better. We look for the right medication, the right job, the right partner. We feel that dissonance and it's very uncomfortable. So we start avoiding our reality through numbing and pleasure seeking, like scrolling or video games or television or alcohol, gambling, drug, food, sex, and even keeping yourself overly busy. Yes, that can be a form of numbing. So your old programming is causing you to behave in ways that aren't serving you, and that is draining your energy. So our goal this week is to uncover this programming and get you a little bit closer to the real you. Okay, so now that we understand the concept of programming, we are going to start bravely exploring some of your old programming. So grab that workbook and scroll down to the page that starts with day 1, the one thing holding me back. It looks like this, I think. It's on page 3. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to think about some areas of your life, like big elements that take up a big chunk of your life, like, for example, your career, parenting, your partner relationship, if you have one, friendships, even how you dress or your house, whatever you want, we're going to put that in these top two lines right here. So we're going to choose 2 to focus on today, 2 areas of your life that are jumping out at you right now. Enter them in the top column of your workbook. Okay, and so for me, I'm going to choose parenting and career. And so you'll notice that underneath it says, in order to be good, I need to. So here we're going to finish the sentence for that specific area. I'm going to give you some examples, and then you'll have some time to enter whatever is true for you. So for me, in my parenting example, I would write, in order to be good, in order to be a good parent, I need to be patient all the time, give my kids the best experiences, make healthy meals, never yell. And Dr. J just wrote patient. That's a big one. That's a big program that we have. In order to be a good parent, we need to be Mary Poppins, pretty much. I need to put my kids first, ensure they excel in school, and have a clean house so that they can live and be safe and calm. Okay, in my career, in order to be good, I need to dress professionally, always be diplomatic, look put together, get everything done on time, be useful to my colleagues, put my work first, never be annoying or greedy, and do quality work. Okay, I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. And in that time, enter as many as you can that are true for you in your topic area. So this is meant to be a fast exercise, so don't overthink it. When you are ready, post at least one of your insights in the chat so I know you're done. 2 minutes, go. moving. Okay, so in the section below, okay, it says, I wish I could. So now we are tapping into our deepest desires. So when you think about your life right now in these two categories that you have chosen to focus on today, what do you wish you could do? And for this exercise, we're not going to worry about whether or not it's possible. Okay, this is a dreaming exercise. I know your programming is going to want to jump in and say, no, we're not doing that. We're just going to put it aside today. And we are going to focus on what you want so badly that your heart aches. Okay, here are my examples. So I'm not going to read them. You can read them on your own time. You've got 2 minutes to write out your wishes. And when you are ready, if it calls to you, please share in the chat so others can be inspired by your wishes. 2 minutes, go. Hi, Drew. I'm so glad you can join us. We're just doing a quick exercise and we've got 30 more seconds and then we'll be back to chatting. Beautiful, Martha. Thank you so much for sharing. Those are amazing wishes. Definitely ones that I share too. All right. Oh, how is that exercise? Because it makes me tingle every time I wish. I don't know if you felt anything, but okay, let's take a look at your workbook. And as you look at these, notice if there is a gap. The first row is your old programming, and the second row is your true self talking. My old programming tells me that I need to be perfect and take care of everyone and everything. And the real me is just desperate for a break and balance and freedom from impossible standards. But I want to be good. And my programming tells me that good parents don't run away, good parents don't take breaks, good workers don't call in sick. But I also want to put myself first and fill my own cup because I know that if I take some time for me, that I will be a better parent. And so I am in conflict. Same with my career. I know that if I take some breaks, I will be a more productive worker. But I don't take breaks because I also know that people are resented when they take breaks. So that conflict is the dissonance that I'm talking about. The dissonance between your programmed self and what you should be doing and your true authentic self and what you really desire from the heart. Have you ever felt that before? Have you felt that conflict? Like there's two parts of you trying to steer you in different directions and you don't know which one to pick? If you have felt that before, if you know what I'm talking about, that's actually awesome because you're in touch with your body. That is your body trying to balance yourself and get rid of the dissonance. So high five for noticing that. but it's exhausting and it depletes us. So what happens is that sometimes our programming wins and sometimes our true self wins. Most of the time our programming wins. But sometimes our true selves win and we do something for ourselves. Woohoo! But what happened when you tried to do that? When you tried to fill your own cup and put yourself first? Maybe you experienced something similar to me. Okay, so let's just move into this. Here is a pie chart of my typical day when I started this journey. If I spend 8 hours sleeping and 8 hours working, that should leave 8 hours left over, right? But if I get up at 5, get myself ready, get the kids ready, drop them off at daycare at 7, and then commute to work, that's 3 hours gone already. Then the commute home, pick up the kids, there's another 2 hours, start dinner, do homework, run to activities, get home, it's bath time, bedtime, got to make lunches, got to do laundry, got to clean up message, got to put the kids back to bed a million times. Repeat ad nauseum. And if I am lucky, I might have a sliver left over for myself. The time between when the kids go to bed at 8 and when I need to be asleep at 9 o'clock in order to get my 8 hours of sleep. But what am I doing with that time? Anybody, what are you doing with that time? I know what I'm doing. I'm doing all of the things that my programming tells me makes me a good and worthy and lovable mother. I have to plan and shop for healthy meals. I have to make sure that my work is done at my actual work because I'm often bringing it home with me because I have to run to pick up the kids. Also for work, I have to dress professionally. So I need to make sure that I pick out my clothes at night so that I have something good to wear in the morning. And then I have to be patient, even on the 20th time that my kids get up and I have to put them back to bed. So that happens sometimes. And sometimes, if I'm lucky, I might numb out with a TV show and not worry about having those things done. But when I'm numbing out on a TV show, I'm still not filling my cup. And I repeat this every day. I am exhausted. Anyone else days like this? Put me in the chat if your day looks similar. Oh, Dr. Jace, just listening to all we do. Yeah, the list is long, right? It's just constant. Right, me. Thank you for sharing. Okay, I'm not alone. So as I'm going through this, my true self comes in with my wishes. Gosh, I wish I had something that lights me up. I know. I used to love playing sports. I'm going to sign up for a sport. And I find a women's over 30 ball hockey league in my neighborhood. Sweet. And so once a week after the kids go to bed, because that's when the sports facilities are not being used by the kids, I'm going to get some exercise and hang out with some amazing gals. And this is going to be good for me. Pat myself on the back for self-care. But what piece of the pie does this come out of? Sleep. My sleep pie is now only 6 hours. Of course, that's fine because it'll be fun, right? It's going to fill my cup, right? But no, it's not fine. Now I'm more tired. And on top of that, I have like anxiety about kind of sucking at the sport because I've never played hockey before. And having so many on my team who are more fit than me and the extra energy required to like socialize and remember things that people share so that next week when they mention it, I'm not like, and further ostracize myself socially. Okay, so this isn't working. Okay, this is not filling my cup. I need something gentler. Something that I don't suck at. I know. I'm going to sign up for an art class. Yes, much calmer, no running. It's like at 7 p.m. So this is not going to take out of my sleep pie. I'm going to be home by 9 and everything will be good. So I sign up for an art class. Yay, more self-care. So proud of me. Okay, so here's what it looks like. Home at 5 with the kids, making dinner, making lunches, doing homework, getting their bath because it's probable that the hubby is not going to do it. Stress of waiting for hubby. Hurry up, get home. I got to get back to my art class. I got to remember to bring all of my art supplies. Okay, here are the kids, honey. Going to be late for my class. Kids are screaming at me as I leave. I get there and I'm trying to find my zen in this loud group of artists. And I'm worrying about whether my kids are missing me and whether they are going down to sleep. Oh, look at that. Time to pack up. Go home to an irritated hubby. Kids who are missing me, who want to snuggle. I'm still exhausted. And not only am I exhausted, but I can feel the resentment and the desperation starting to bubble up from my core. So that was my self-care journey before I figured it all out. And I just hit on another aspect of this impossible pie, this pie of my day, emotions. This pie chart shows my time, but we also have a cup for our energy and how much of my energy is taken up by dealing with that needy coworker or the frustrating project or the screaming child or figuring out how to get on the same page as my partner. So I feel like this is impossible to fill my cup while dealing with this stupid, impossible pie of my day. So I looked to the self-help gurus, help me. Okay. So I'm Googling it, I'm doing my research, I do all the things. And what I come up with is, you need to calm your mind. Yeah. Okay, how do I do that? So I look for ways. Try meditating. Journaling is a great way to work through your feelings. You should eat a healthy diet consisting of things you don't really like to eat. Working out is great for your mental health. Talk to a therapist, build a morning routine, take walks to clear your mind, commune with nature, develop proper sleep habits, try yoga. Okay, I'm sure all of those are great, but they all just seemed like extra things to do in my already overwhelmed life, extra pieces of pie that I'm trying to squeeze into an already full day until, boom, my pie exploded. This is impossible. This is an impossible pie. And I hit burnout. So there I was. My life had completely fallen apart. I didn't know how to pick up the pieces. And I wasn't sure I even wanted to pick up the pieces because I don't want to live like that anymore. So what do we do? If we can't just start over or give our kids away or take a proper freaking break, how hopeless is this situation? And that's what it felt like when I started this journey, hopeless. I don't know what to do. I'm not a millionaire, so I have to keep working. I can't even take a proper vacation because I have too many responsibilities and not enough time or money. What now? You ever felt like that? You ever felt like you've tried all the things, nothing is really working? Tell me it's not just me. So that is where I was 10 years ago, shattered into a million pieces. It took me 10 years to figure this out. And I don't want you to have to live like that for the next 10 years, which is why I am showing up here today for you. And I want to introduce you to my friend, Jackie. A year and a half ago, Jackie's pie exploded too. Thank you, Susan. For her, it showed up as major health issues that forced her to be off of work. She couldn't drive, and she was completely devastated because Jackie had a job as a teacher that she was so passionate about, and it broke her heart to have to leave her students in the middle of the year to deal with this health crisis that turned out to be stress-related. Her stress and her programming and that dissonance between her true self and her program self had finally exploded her life. Luckily, we found each other, and she came into my world and started my 6-month program in June 2022. And she did the work, just like you are doing today. She showed up for herself, and she followed the step-by-step process that I'll tell you about more later this week. And in September, she went back to work and started a new job. She went back to work. That's amazing. She switched from being a classroom teacher to an itinerant teacher who supported multiple schools with the higher needs students. And around October, her husband noticed some major changes in her. She was lighter. She was smiling more, connecting more with him and their 2 sons. She seemed to enjoy life more. And he made a comment to her that had Jackie reflecting. He said, "Wow, this new job seems great for you. You seem so much happier now." And that got Jackie thinking, was that true? And she thought about it, and she thought, no, this job is actually harder with a lot more bureaucracy that I don't love. I have to pitch for resources, and that sucks and that's stressful. So this job is actually more stressful than my teaching job. And so she came to the conclusion that it's not because her job is different. It's because she is different. And she is different because she's busted through a ton of her old programming and gotten herself closer to her true and beautiful and magnificent self. And without that gap, without that dissonance between her true self and her program self, she was happier and had more energy and approached her relationships differently. And she was able to manage the stress of her new demanding job because she now had tools and techniques to fill her own cup. So Jackie was kind enough to share her journey publicly, and I'm going to post a video into the group later today if you want to know more. But the big takeaway here is that my self-care efforts were not working because I had not addressed my old programming. It's like putting cream on weird sores that pop up, not realizing that I had like a terrible parasite inside me and that the sores and the pain would go away if I treated the parasite instead of the outside wounds. And what happens when you start uncovering your old programming and discarding what is no longer serving you is that you start opening up little holes throughout your day, little spaces throughout your impossible pie. And I made a little diagram of it. I'll show you. Yeah, see the holes in the pie? And so this entire week is all about taking you through busting through your old programming and moving into a place where you can also be happier and lighter and get more done. And so tomorrow we are going to start doing just that. We are going to start addressing the 3 biggest energy draining programs. These are the ones that cause the most dissonance between our true self and our program self, and therefore have the most potential to open up the biggest spaces in our impossible pie. All right. So after we do that tomorrow, we are going to spend the rest of the week reinforcing those spaces with simple boundaries and then filling the spaces with replenishing activities so that we can feel joy and fulfillment while still getting all the shit done that we need to do in our crazy day. So your homework today is to share 2 programs that you uncovered today. And if you do all 4 days of homework, there's no homework on Friday because I'm not a monster. Not only will you have made huge advancements in dealing with your own programming, but you'll also be entered into a draw to win a prize at the end of the week. We love prizes. Oh, speaking of prizes, we have another prize to win. This is the Bring a Friend prize draw for anyone who is attending with a friend. Hey, friends. And that draw is going to take place at our meeting tomorrow. So you have until then to get yourself entered by bringing a friend. If you know someone who is stressed out, who is feeling stuck, who is struggling to make decisions or just exhausted, this is your chance to get them here this week so that they too can learn how to recharge their battery while attending to the many, many things that they do in a day. So if that is you, send me a note once your friend registers and I'll enter you into the draw. Okay, so you uncovered your old programming today and you wrote it in your workbook. Take a few moments this afternoon to look back at what you have written down for our exercise today. I know I talked a lot today. I had to explain what the old programming is so that we can get into it for the rest of the week. But in your workbook, every one of the things in your top row reveals a program that your mind created. Like, I am only a good employee if I get everything done on time, no matter how unreasonable the timelines are. Okay? So you can start looking at what you wrote, and on the next page or 2 pages down, you can write what you think your programs are. I'll give you an example when I do the homework thread. But we're going to be using this throughout the week. So it's super important that you do that reflection. So you're going to write your programs on that page, and then you're going to share 2 of them in the homework thread in the Facebook group. And when you do that, you'll be entered in the draw at the end of the week. And join us tomorrow to dive into 3 powerful ways to triple your energy without exercise, magic, and Red Bull. So I have a friend who texted me today saying, I just don't understand. Some things fill my cup, but they also drain me. How do I deal with those things? And that's what we're talking about tomorrow. So I can't wait to see you then. Thank you so much for showing up today and showing up for yourself. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with in the homework and seeing your beautiful faces again tomorrow. Okay, bye.